Hey guys, I'm Audrey from Audrey.A.I, and today I'm sharing with you something that is near and dear to my heart. But have you ever wondered why some businesses thrive and scale effortlessly and others just struggle to keep afloat? Well, it's not just about having the best strategy or the biggest budget or the most experience. It is actually, the best kept secret is, it actually comes down to leadership. Now, here's something most people won't tell you, that you can't effectively lead a team until you can effectively lead yourself. And before you start hiring and training, empowering, or scaling your business, you need to develop a leadership mindset in order to attract and keep the right people. So, in this video, I am going to be walking you through how to recruit, train, empower a high performing team. And whether you're running a startup or you're growing your business or you are leading a network marketing team, this one's for you. So, let's dive in, because stick to the end. I'm going to share with you some of the biggest mistakes that will sabotage your team and how to avoid them. I'm going to be sharing with you the screen, um, which is, again, one of the articles I wrote and posted on our website at oscale.ai. And I'm going to follow this through with you so I stay on path, stay on track, and don't go everywhere in every other direction, because I have so much to share about this. But the first one is really the foundation, is starting with inner leadership. So before you can lead others, like I said, you need to build a solid leadership foundation. And great leadership isn't just about barking orders and having a fancy title, it's about having influence. So let's break that down, shall we? The first one here is, how do you strengthen your leadership foundation? Well, firstly, it's developing self awareness. So you regularly have to assess your own strengths and your own weaknesses and being aware of the areas that you need for improvement. Now, I've tried journaling. I've tried some personality assessments too. But most importantly of all, I've gotten feedback from mentors, and that has really helped me immensely. They highlight things that are in your blind spot that you're not able to see for yourself. So that awareness is first very important, and then being able to assess it objectively, make adjustments, and then taking actions towards making those changes. Secondly, is mastering your emotional intelligence. It's your ability to handle challenges, adapt, adjust, like I mentioned earlier, and connect with people to determine your leadership success. So it's about being able to really connect, I find, is the key, because if you don't have enough emotional intelligence to connect and relate to people in your team or with your mentor, then it's really going to be very difficult to strengthen your leadership. Third one here is aligning your values with your business. So when your team sees that you are authentic, that you are walking the walk and talking the talk, they will naturally align with your vision as well. Getting crystal clear on your mission. So define what kind of business culture you want to create. And strong teams will rally behind that strong mission, always being crystal clear. And that means revisiting your mission statement all the time, revisiting what is your goal and purpose of running this business, and making that known to the world and to your team. Here's a little action step I thought I'd throw in, is take 5 minutes to write down your top 3 leadership qualities that you want to embody and one way to improve in each area of that. Now, let's jump into the second part of how to build and lead a high performing team, and that is identify and recruit the right people. So, most entrepreneurs make the mistake of hiring out of urgency instead of alignment. And this comes back down to also just, not being able to be prepared, not really knowing your where and having clear crystal vision on your direction. So that's how you end up with a team that drains your energy instead of driving your business forward. So there's a lot more strategy that needs to go into creating a vision as to where you want to go with your business. And what we've got, let's break that down, shall we? So key traits of a strong team leader is your growth mindset. These are things that you need to look out for in other people. Are they coachable? Are they adaptable? And are they eager to learn? That's pretty straightforward. You can tell. Ownership mentality. They take initiative and they don't want to be told, and they don't wait to be told what to do. So you're not always following up with them and chasing after them. They're actually taking initiative to show up and say, and come back to you and hold themselves accountable and say, hey, look what I've done here. Is this what I have to do? Or even questions around what not to do or what they're not sure of. They're taking initiative. And resilience. They can handle challenges without giving up. So they're not just going to give up on the first failure, and they're not going to get down about it, right? They're going to pick themselves up and keep going. Where to find the best talent? Now, obviously, I go to a lot of networking events, and that's where I love to find talent, and conferences, because there's like-minded individuals there. I also get a lot of word of mouth referral from people that you trust, and most business is done through word of mouth. That is the best form of business, and best way to find the right people. Social media and online communities, because how you show up online as well attracts the kind of people that you want. So finding the right niche areas on social media to find your people, and LinkedIn and professional groups, of course, that are specific to your industry. Red flags to look out for: negative attitude, resistance to learning, lack of accountability for past failures, and poor communication skills. So I think we might be yes, we're covering that later as to how to actually get on top of all this. These are the things to look out for. And so before bringing anyone into your team, ask yourself, does this person align with my mission and values? I know a lot of times, if I come back to the screen here, that people feel so pressured to take on anyone and everyone that will listen or that has an interest in their business. I think that we need to take a step back and be really objective and have some standard as to who we're bringing on board as well. And also looking at that objectively and saying, am I attracting the right people, right? So rolling it back and going, am I attracting the right person? And then going, are these the people I want in my team? Because it's really important that you don't just take on anyone. There needs to be an alignment. And that really is important in the long-term scheme of things. So you don't waste time bringing on people, onboarding people, training people, and then having them drop off because they were not the right match. So as we go back to share screen, the third part to this is creating systems for training and development. Now, hiring great people isn't quite enough. It really isn't. If you don't have a solid training system, you'll spend all your time micromanaging instead of leading, and you'll spend all your time answering questions that can be systemized and automated. So some of the key elements of these training systems is structured onboarding. So clearly outlining expectations and values and processes from the get-go. And you can only do this if you have a platform or a software to place this in. It's really important. And then you don't have to keep repeating yourself. There's consistency in that. So that leads us to obviously standard operating procedures, or SOPs, is documenting essential tasks for consistency. It's not enough now to hand people a booklet or a training manual. That was something that was done in the old days. It's really important to house this on a platform, on a software, on a system that is really easy to change when you need to change or pivot, and it's easy to distribute to a wide audience or a wide network. And you can also pass this on to your assistants to take care of as well. Ongoing education is really, really important. I have done a lot of education ongoing for many, many years, but the mistake I made was I did not put that into a digital process, an online platform where I could easily tweak the courses, promote the courses, and make sure that education was consistent. But also, more importantly, as I come back here, what I've realized is I used to give people live courses, live training, live workshops, and recordings. And I used to give people access to my favorite books, or books that are really important for growth. But I think that the improvement that we need to make here is creating a system. And what that means is if you're able to create or turn that book into an amazing online course, which has an assessment, which has a way to track their progress, which has a way to get their feedback, and which has a way for them to really be accountable for their learning. And then you can even issue them a completion certificate. I mean, how amazing would that be, right? So I think the online education platform is the way to go. And I'm going to dive into that a little bit later. So that's a great one. And coming back to the screen, leveraging on automation and AI. And I guess that's kind of what I just mentioned just then, is use learning management systems and automated training sequences to streamline your education so that they're accountable. You don't have to follow up with them as to whether they actually looked at what you gave them. There's a way for them to track. There's a way for them to really keep track, and also streamline them or stream them into ongoing education, leading them to more. So here's something you can do is identify one area of your business that could really benefit from automation and systemization. And yeah, let me know what you think about that one. Number 4 is the art of leadership, managing and empowering your team. So this one is really about how to transition from micromanaging to empowering. Set clear expectations, right? So ensure everyone understands their role and their responsibilities. And again, that just comes with being able to automate all this. They can go back and read what is expected. They can go back and look at the mission statement. They can go back and look at the course or the document you put in there about your company culture. That's really important. Now, also trusting your team, giving them autonomy to make decisions and solve problems. This as well, it's not so much about people being untrustworthy, but it really is about people not having the autonomy or not having a way to be accountable for their tasks or their actions or their goals. And oftentimes people forget, they forget to come back to you. And I know that's, they don't know how to take initiative because there's no real system to help guide them along the way and they get lost in everything. So it's really more about setting up a system for them to succeed versus going, well, are they trustworthy or not? Because when you set them up right and they have a very systematic way and structured way to follow through with tasks, etc., then they're naturally going to show up and they're naturally going to be accountable and you're naturally going to be able to trust them. So as we come back here, and okay, that leads us to encouraging accountability as well. So empowering them to take ownership of their work. And again, you've got to set them up right for that. Building a culture of trust and performance. So regular feedback and coaching is super important, and that could be about weekly or fortnightly check-ins or live calls where you can all check in with each one another, talk about what your wins are, talk about what worked, what didn't work, and maybe even you're talking about your adjustments. What can you do better this week to get better results? So that's going to boost your engagement. Recognizing and rewarding effort. Now, appreciation really does increase motivation and reduce turnover or churn. And sometimes recognition is enough to do that. You don't necessarily have to reward for everything, but that really works for me and my team. Just showing appreciation, speaking, and making them aware. I see you. You did so much better. You did 20% better this week. That is enough to increase motivation. And occasionally, yes, have that reward. Like as a team, we did so good this week. How about we go out and get a meal or treat ourselves? That really helps. And developing future leaders is really identifying and mentoring and spending your time where it's important on high potential team members. And again, this comes back down to having systems as well to be able to track progress, to be able to look at the numbers and then pick out those potential high performing team members. So start with one new leadership habit this week, whether that's scheduling a check in, delegating a task, or giving more recognition, whatever that might be. And as we move on down here, some of the common mistakes to avoid. So many entrepreneurs unknowingly sabotage their team's growth. Here's not what to do. Waiting too long to hire or delegate. I made that mistake so many times. I thought I could do it myself, do it all myself. Do not wait too long. It will drain you, it will burn you out. And eventually, your business will decline. Hiring based on convenience instead of fit. Have high standards, determine what your standards are, and make sure that it's clear to the other person that there needs to be a win-win situation here. There needs to be alignment. Not providing clear expectations or training, so unclear roles create confusion, unclear expectations create confusion, and that can all be settled with a simple habit tracker. What are your top goals as a team? What are your top goals as an individual? And that can be broken down into weekly and monthly goal setting and tasks and actions daily that lead to that main goal. And we have all that as well in our system that is free. I mean, ask me for it, I'll give you that. Failing to develop leadership in others. If you're the only leader, your business cannot scale. So you need to empower people to become their own leader. Lack of communication and feedback loops. Silence leads to disengagement and turnover. And I have made that mistake, very costly mistake. you just got to talk more, you got to communicate more, and you got to learn how to listen better. And that leads to better communication. So, if I was to conclude here, leadership really is the foundation of growth, and your business is only as strong as the people behind it. So, you have to lead yourself first before you can even lead others. You have to also get the right people on board, and you can only know that by having clear vision of what you have for yourself and for your business. And you can only create efficient systems, well, rather, you have to create efficient systems in order to have a strong business, in order to empower your team to duplicate and create what you have created. It has to be systemized and it has to be automated in order to have a thriving and scaling business or organization. So here's my challenge for you. What is one leadership skill that you can commit to improving this month? Drop it down below and share with me. I'd love to hear from you. And so, prioritizing yourself is really super important, I think, going forward. Prioritizing your growth in leadership and your ability to communicate, your ability to build teams. This will set you up for long term success. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.